Aloha, everybody. This is Cathy Bilsky, the Quantum Leap Let Light Unite show on UPRN Radio. And this is Friday, February 21st, 2020. Of course, the Quantum Leap Let Light Unite. So tonight I have a special guest, and I got Sara Markis back on. And she's been on before, and she wrote this incredible book, which I really love. So I invited her back on to talk a little bit more about her book, which is about herbal remedies. And, it's getting to the age that this is stuff that we really need to know. And before I bring Sara on, I just want to remind everybody that Mercury is retrograde again. So if things don't seem to be going right and everything is falling apart and people are irritating you more than normal, and you've got communication problems and things are breaking down, and then appointments don't want to come together. And when they do, you find out that you're going to pay $380 to get your wash machine fixed. Yay! It's a harsh time. It can be. It's a challenging time. It's a time that you really don't want to start any brand new project, but it's a time of completing. So you can complete things that you started before this time. It's a time that you really shouldn't sign any contracts or start any brand new relationships, because a lot of times when Mercury goes direct, that stuff can fall apart. Now, there are the exceptions, but if you want to play the crap wheel, just go ahead. Just, giving you all a heads up. It's been pretty challenging, with me these past couple weeks. So we've got 2 weeks to go. Wow, I have been really biting my tongue lately. So I figure if I'm going through this, maybe a few of you are too. And, it's just not you, that this is something that's kind of normal. And if you realize what's going on, then you can manage it, or hopefully manage it a little bit better. Well, hi, Sara. Thank you for coming back on.
Thank you for having me, Cathy. I enjoy it so much. And I really appreciate getting the good word out there.
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy time. That's all I can say. But we're here to talk about your book. And now that I actually have it in my hand, up there, if everybody can see it. For those of you that actually have video, live video. Oh, yeah, guys, I just have a question to say. And I need to bring this up before we really get into your book. And this is about last week. Now, I did a soul retrieval last week. It took me the whole hour. And this takes a lot of energy to do. And things happened because Mercury was in retrograde. And my producer forgot to stop the previous and show and talk to me. And nobody called to say this happened. My God, guys, you make me feel so bad. At least somebody should have called this show and said, hello, I just want to bring it to your attention, because I don't know this is happening. I don't hear. I'm here in my own studio. And if I have a guest on, it's just her and me. And I don't know what else you're hearing in the background unless I hear it. And if I don't hear it, I don't know it's there. So please, guys, if that happens again, would you please notify the studio and, call the number from the studio, let us know that it's happening so we can correct it. And I would be forever grateful, especially when I'm doing energy work. Okay, I'm ready. Sorry. Had to get that out.
You're good.
All right, so now I want to show you Sara's incredible book. And, it's just not the book itself, but it blew me away because it came in this incredible, wrapped in gold paper. See, I still have the paper. And then it was wrapped in this burlap bag, which I thought was, wow, really unique. And what gave you the divine inspiration to put all that together, other than it's very elegant?
Well, one of the things that I just really love about vintage things is it's things that are useful, practical, and at the same time, it's just naturally attractive. So I had bought these burlap bags even 2 years ago as, to give gift items. And since my book has the foil title, I didn't want things rubbing against that. And so I put the books in a clear plastic bag and seal it and wrap it and put it in the bag. And this way, as it's being jostled around in the mail, it, comes to the person all, in great condition. And I would say if you're traveling, it's good to put it back in the burlap bag, fold it over so it's kind of a extra padding against the book, and, easily pack it in your travel. And this way it stays in good shape.
Well, you do things differently. And, I thought this was really cool, and I have to bring it up. You're going to see this ribbon, and it ties the book closed. I mean, how cool is that? No snap. You just close it. Now the pages aren't going to get ripped or torn while you travel. Yeah, how brilliant.
Yeah, and most people, they put other recipes or cut out articles or, different things in cookbooks. And so I know from traveling with family cookbooks, it's very annoying if you lift it up wrong and all those recipes fall out of the book. So that's what made me put the tie on. It just keeps things in the book easier. It's also got the envelope. So if you want to put recipes or postcards or whatever in that envelope in the back, you can. Yeah, there's that. And then, of course, I have Solfeggio Sound Therapy Guided Meditation by Steve Noble. He was very kind and generous to allow me to print 5 of his meditations and put it with the book because, for goodness sake, us women are always nurturing everybody. So this is just a little something to nurture. It's usually the women that do the cooking and canning and that kind of thing. So this is just a gift to those that are nurturing others, that they also recharge and nurture. So,
well, it's a book full of surprises.
Yes. Now, in the book, I introduced how to use the book. So in that beginning part, there's also all the abbreviations that are used, what they mean. So PDM, I put just about in all the remedies, which is plant-derived minerals, because of my father's groundbreaking research, which is a national treasure in the Smithsonian. Of course, we're going to put it any which way we can use it. And because it's colloidal, that means it's microscopic particles, and therefore it will go through the skin, not just internally, but topically as well. So using it for any kind of tonics or, energy drinks or lotions or washes or whatever, it's just so good for the body to be able to absorb all those nutrients that most people don't get, which is why there's all kinds of, mineral spas or mineral springs that people go to just to sit in the water to absorb the minerals. So it has a very big impact on the health when you regularly take plant-derived minerals, because they're so absorbable, and we can actually prevent or reverse over 900 degenerative diseases from these deficiencies. So it's, the more you get it into your body, the more it protects the body. So
when I was in Egypt and I think I was in Aswan. They were actually burying people in the sand.
Yes.
And the sand, they said, would draw out the disease. And when the people came out, they were much healthier and, felt better. And it's old school that we've forgotten that's out there that we really don't utilize. And I love hot springs. Oh my God, my daughter grew up swimming in hot springs.
Yes. Yeah. There's, those are national treasures wherever they're found, and people flock to them because they do notice a difference, even soaking for an hour. So minerals are a huge, huge health benefit. And because plants cannot manufacture minerals and people and animals cannot manufacture minerals, if we want to make sure we're getting them, we must take them. And so the animal husbandry and livestock and zoo gardens, in order to protect the health of our food supply and our, zoological treasures, they had to invest in what they needed coming out of their natural habitats to make sure that they had what they needed to be healthy, to have offspring, etc. So these are things that animal husbandry and livestock and zoo backgrounds have a lot more knowledge and research, billions of dollars in research of, nutritional needs and biological needs, how it, correlates. And again, what my father's research, which is considered a national treasure, he was able to map out all these deficiencies and which diseases came from them. So that's what was so special. And he knew from his animal husbandry and zoological background as a zoo vet that he could reverse all these diseases. So that's when he became a naturopath and started taking care of people through nutritional protocols. And so, 27 years later, here we are, very much on the forefront of educating and protecting natural health in the United States.
Well, you wrote this incredible book, and it has all these different kind of herbal remedies. Now, why you feel it's important that people create their own healing tools, in effect?
Well, what happens, in the realm of energy, first of all, anything that you put energy and focus and work with your hands has tremendous energy involved in it. And so if your intention is to be loving and healing, all of that emotional energy goes into whatever you're making and working with. So that's number one. Number two is exactly what's going into these things. So what's going into the mouths of yourself and your family. What's going onto your skin or onto your pets. Exactly what's there. And, so all those things are what there's a growing community that prefer to make their own remedies because they don't want the toxins, they don't want the chemicals, they don't want, watered down things. So they know exactly what's in them. So the advantage to doing a remedy book like this is once you start making a few of these remedies, you'll see on your own, oh, instead of rose essential oil, maybe I'll try, lavender, or maybe I'll try jasmine. You can mix and match as you go. So, and that goes for any of the recipes, not just remedy, but cooking as well. You can change out what you prefer. And so that gives you a lot of creativity, a lot of adaptability. So these are things that when you make it yourself, you have control of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, you really cover a lot of the bases, I have to say. You know, you go from first aid and energy and beauty and healing therapies and food therapy for the bride and men and garden and pets. And, you know, you really covered a lot of bases in here.
Yeah, I tried to keep it like family oriented. So, you know, a young family or young adults that are heading into creating a family, this is a nice investment so that they keep themselves healthy. They make sure that they're getting enough nutrients pre trying to start a family. So they reduce the risks of anything being wrong with the coming baby. They, you know, as they are working with their baby, people can see that babies have much more sensitive skin than adults. And so you cannot just use over-the-counter soaps and shampoos for baby. You have to use very gentle products. And so for those people that care about the organics, care about what they're putting on and in their babies and children, toddlers, teens, whatever, this is very helpful to give a basic. And again, you can mix and match, change, you know, which oils you want to use in them. So it's not set in stone. It's more or less like a good basic guide how to use things. And so whoever has a family or a household, these are things that most people run into.
All right, so say we're going to go to pets, which is in your book under pets, and I want to get rid of fleas naturally. So in your book, you've got, and this is simple, you know, diatomaceous earth. Oh, I better get my glasses on. There we go. Lavender powder, a half a cup catnip powder, a half a cup. Where do you get catnip powder?
Okay, in the book, towards the end, there's a section that says Sarah's favorite herbal, you know, companies or whatever. So you can look up those, or you can go online and just do a Google search and type in powdered catnip herb or powdered lavender herb or whatever herb you want powdered, because you can do it yourself. But anyone who has a coffee grinder knows that once you start putting things in that are stringy or, you know, grassy or whatever, it wears down the blade very quickly. So for me, I'd rather just order it powdered already. They have the big industrial grinders, and I don't need to worry about wearing out my coffee grinder. So you could just get and run it through, but then again, because it's not meant for industrial and all different types of grasses or, you know, flower seeds or whatever, it can wear it down very quickly. Now, people that are doing it very big time, like workshops, and they're constantly turning over a lot of people, they can invest in a commercial grinder.
Well, I truthfully like the shortcuts. You know, sometimes that I say that the men and women with the tools do their thing because it brings them so much joy.
Well, it's so much easier, and a lot of these herbal supply companies, these organic herbal supply companies, they know what the deal is grinding, and with these big industrial grinders, it comes very uniform, meaning, you know, it's all the way through powdered, and, you know, it's usually very fine because they know you're using it for lotions or tonics or whatever, so you don't want lumps. So it's very nice quality grinding, powdering. And so diatomaceous earth is a very interesting natural product that, you know, it's more or less by observation that people have found that using the diatomaceous earth, it's almost microscopic, not quite. It basically, I'm just pulling up something to read off this article. Because of its texture and size, it's actually a natural bug control as well.
Isn't
Let
it
me just,
finely, is it finely fine glass?
it's not glass. Okay, where does diatomaceous earth come from? It's made of tiny fossilized diatoms, which are plankton, that have accumulated over millennia in freshwater lakes. These pure deposits of fossilized diatoms, it's in powder form, okay? But when you magnify it, it looks like these shards of sea urchins or something. You know, it's kind of like the makeup of sea urchin skeletons, but it's microscopic almost because it's plankton. And it's just the right size that it doesn't hurt mammals at all, but it will destroy bugs. So if you put it on your carpets, you put it on your animals, you put it on yourselves, if it's bad enough, you know, it will not hurt you. It will kill bed bugs. It will kill fleas. It will kill anything that's crawling, spiders, you know, any kind of crawling bug, it will get rid of.
Have you heard of people actually taking it internally to get rid of parasites?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Now, I prefer that people use things like pumpkin seeds, the green skin of pumpkin seeds. If you eat it regularly, like 1 week a month or something, so it prevents any kind of cycle with the bugs, you know, parasites, worms, whatever. And people that are out in the rurals have to be careful of this. People that are living with livestock have to be careful of this because it can be dangerous if it ever gets out of hand. So prevention is so much easier. And so a lot of people will take a teaspoon of this every morning in their tea or coffee or juice and just drink it up. So first of all, it's almost all calcium. It's rock calcium, you know, it's not plant derived, but still you do need that major mineral. So people have been able to reduce their high blood pressure taking this regularly in their tea or coffee. It's also good to prevent or help get rid of any interior worms, because it's mostly worms that are in your digestive tract if it gets in. And so, you know, it's just so many good things with this. You know, one thing that I want to make a point of saying in regards to small pets like dogs, cats, anything small, you know, guinea pigs, whatever, you don't want to use essential oils with them because it's way too strong. They'll start wheezing, throwing up, or whatever. So it's too strong. But the herb itself is perfect. So lavender powder is perfect. And, you know, if they have any kind of bugs, it also helps prevent ticks. So it's much easier to put that than letting them run all summer in the grasses and whatever and come back with 10 or 20 ticks to pull off. Who wants to do that? Like, so a little bit of prevention is so worth it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's really, I'm going to read through the instructions really quick, just to give people an idea how easy this is, okay? So you've got 4 cups of diatomaceous earth, 1/2 cup of lavender powder, and 1/2 cup of catnip powder, all right? So you mix well, place into shaker top jar, label and date. Okay, that's it, guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now, someone that has a serious bleed problem, you can get rid of it totally naturally like this within 2 weeks.
right now, for everybody that has pets out there with injury or arthritis, can we read that one?
All right.
Okay. Animals that are not doing well, slow to grow, not thriving, injury, or getting old, should get a raw egg added to their feed along with a scoop of Arthridex by
Arthridex. Arthridex. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And you will tell me what that is.
Yes.
And the mixture of 1 egg and 1 scoop of Arthridex should be given at least daily once for a week for injury or lack of thriving, and should be given every other day for arthritic pets. Okay, that's simple.
Yeah. Now, just for an example, I have a friend that had like a 18-year-old dachshund, which has very long back, very stretched out spine or whatever. And so at 18 years old, she couldn't jump up on her favorite chair to just sit and watch everyone. You'd have to pick her up and put her there. He did this, egg in the feed together with a scoop of Arthridex, which is minerals and chicken flavor and natural chicken flavor, and the glucogel that we have, which has the chondroitin sulfate that helps rebuild the cartilage. So within about a week, she was jumping back up in her chair by herself.
Wow,
So,
that's amazing.
yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
as you see them, like he used it for that week, and then he asked me, should I stop? I'm like, no, don't stop, but just do it at least once a week. You don't have to keep doing it every day for maintenance, but when you see she's having trouble again, then you go back to the full week.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, you have a lot of recipes in here, and for those of us who really aren't into cooking and just get enough by, and I know going through your book, there's a lot of terms that I'm just going to ask you to explain, if you will, or maybe how I can get. And so far everything is really easy to find and easy to get, but I'm just going to kind of bounce around, so forgive me, guys, but I want to go to the garden. And in the book, well, this is where everything starts, right? From the garden.
Yes.
And then from there it goes, then you make it out of the herbs that you hopefully grow. Why would you add copper wire to gardens? Why is that important?
Well, again, if you don't want to use chemicals, guess what? All the bugs in the garden want to eat your garden too. So you have to do certain things to prevent slugs, snails, because especially like lettuce and cabbage or any leafy thing that you want to grow for yourself, they want to eat it too. So what, for hundreds of years, farmers noticed that if you put an edging of copper wiring, it would keep the slugs and the snails from going in to the area that you've sectioned off. Now you have to be careful that if you see any slugs or snails in that protected area, you got to throw them away because they won't want to go over and out again either. So you don't want to leave them in your victory garden, so you do have to be watchful and careful. So what is the easiest way? You do like a physical scan, but don't spend too much time, because if there's leaves and things, you're not going to see all the snails or whatever. You wait till 1 or 2 plants have holes and somebody's eating it. So then you grab them and throw them out.
Okay.
So
it sounds very easy. You don't need like any copper wire to run in between the rows or anything like that.
well, it depends how big your victory garden is. If you do something like 10 feet by 20 feet, you just want to do a border. Now, if it's half an acre, you're going to do sections and do it in between, because that's just too much area to leave unprotected.
Now, you're a master gardener.
Yes.
So does it matter the size of the copper wire?
Well, I sent you earlier a link on the mesh, copper mesh. It's sold on a roll. So, online you can get it for, let me see, I think it's like 50 feet. And it's about, 50 feet. And let's see how wide it is. And it just looks like this kind of like chicken wire, because it's big squares, but it's about 6 or 8 inches wide and 50 feet long, and it's very soft. So you just put it around your staked area and wrap it around that, and that keeps the snails and slugs from crawling over. And nowadays, most people don't have a lot of snails, but they have tons of slugs. And once you start putting like all this compost and fertilizer, and your plants are just popping up, that's exactly what the slugs want to eat. They don't want to eat your old bush next to the house, because you probably haven't put any compost and mulch and fertilizer. So they don't want that. They want the good stuff.
Now, is that something I can get at a hardware store?
Yeah, hardware or online. A lot of things you can get on Amazon or eBay or that kind of thing. So they have, it's called on here, what do they call it? Outdoor garden slug and snail copper mesh. So very easy, and it's very soft. So people can just, if you've cordoned off, most people will put some kind of chicken wire around their victory garden, because rabbits and squirrels and raccoons and possums like to crawl in there also. So it's just a good idea to put chicken wire around your victory garden to keep those guys from just like helping themselves. And then to prevent the slugs, you just put that around, and you can use little, twist ties through the mesh and through your chicken wire to hold it in place. So, and once you have it there, it's good for like 3 to 5 years, maybe longer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's not something you have to keep doing. It's a worthwhile investment.
Oh, absolutely. I know I'm making a mental note. So some of the things that you put some of your recipes together, like, okay, your beauty skincare products, which, I really want to try also. Where can I get some of the stuff like glycerin and natural preservative?
Okay, a lot of the natural health stores have these items. Okay. So if you want to go physically to a store, go to the health food store, give them a list, they'll show you where they have. They usually also have empty glass jars and spray bottles and even lip balm cases that you can buy directly from them. So you don't have to order it, but it's much cheaper if you find a supplier online. Again, Amazon and eBay have tons of suppliers for glass jars and spray bottles and plastic jars as well. So it's not just everything has to be glass. Just what's nice about glass is you can sterilize it once you're finished and reuse it, which is why people do canning, because when you finish using the product that you made, you can reuse the jar again and again. So in the scheme of things, that saves you a lot of money down the road also.
Okay. So emulsifying wax.
So you just pull up Google or Amazon or eBay. Okay, you put it in, and they have different size bags. And I like to put organic, because then you know that they have specifically not manufactured it with any other chemicals or finishing or whatever. But you can just get from Amazon. There's 8-ounce bags, there's 16-ounce bags, there's 50-pound bags, whatever size you're going to use. Now, if you're only going to make 1 or 2 things, I suggest getting the 8-ounce bag. If you're going to do like 10 or 20 things, I would say get the 16-ounce bag. If you need to, you order again. But it's basically, emulsifying wax is a fancy word for paraffin. It's just candle wax.
Okay, a fancy name for candle wax. Well, I was just curious if there was like grades of it, a high grade or a low grade, or if it's all the same, other than natural and not natural.
Not really. Paraffin's paraffin. It's just wax, But what happens is, like with the emulsifying wax, the beauty of it is usually these little pellets. So they've already like made it into these pellets, which makes it very easy as you're making things to mix it. Because if you had to take like this, like, chisel and hammer to knock off like a slab of paraffin from a big thing, it's just very difficult. So, and then you'd have to shave it, whatever. So a lot of us are used to that with beeswax, but beeswax is much softer than paraffin.
Okay, now I know both sexes want to hear this one. Now I'm going to bring up your cocoa aphrodisia milk.
Yes.
Tonic. Now, it's got some really interesting things in here. Ashwanda, I love the ashwanda powder, yohimbe powder, and oikadin powder.
Fucodin. Mm-hmm.
Okay. How did you with those?
Okay, well, one of the most important things with aphrodisiac is that it takes a lot of energy, okay, to be together with each other. So, that means whether you're going to use it for sports or whether you're going to use it for a sexual encounter, it's a lot of energy you're exerting. So to protect the body, to allow for that increase in energy. So these adaptogenic herbs are very helpful to giving you stamina, to giving you strength, and to keep your blood sugar on a slow burn, so you don't have these spikes and as well, you know, a little bit more stamina than you're used to. A couple of these herbs like yohimbe and peyote, they also increase testosterone. And even us women, if we want to increase libido, we have to take in more testosterone. So, you know, my father's book, he mentions, you know, frigid women take certain herbs because it increases naturally the testosterone hormone in them. And so all of these,
I'm sorry, here I thought it was just men having the testosterone problem.
no, it's women also. But, you know, it's not as noticeable in women, but the point is, you know, as a couple, the couple will know if the woman's just not into it. So it's something that this is very sweet spices with the cardamom and cinnamon and with the cocoa. These are all things that allow for, you know, this luxurious pampering together with these herbs to give you energy and stamina and, you know, more testosterone. And so together, synergistically, they create this delicious snack, and you can take it before and after. So, you know, this is really nice. And when someone is doing this for the other, you know, whether it's the husband doing it for the wife or the wife doing it for the husband, it just makes the other one feel loved. So that brings this closeness together, as well as if you do this regularly, it can prevent, you know, this overexertion. We've heard so many times of certain people dying in the middle of it, you know. So in Ayurvedic, they specifically realize that this is just the way it is. There's certain amount of life force that if someone is sexually active or too active, it causes exhaustion and the body quits. So to prevent that, Ayurvedic specifically like to get people in the habit of giving their body resources to overcome any stresses. So whether it's sports or whether it's, you know, just being very active with each other, it protects so many levels of hormone, energy, stamina, adrenaline, that kind of thing.
So, okay, I have a question. What is crystallized ginger?
Okay, you've heard of ginger, okay? Fresh ginger, it's a very spicy, you know, taste to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can buy, I suggest people buy crystallized ginger. You can get it in any spice aisle in the grocery. You can get it in the health food store, you know, and that's specifically organic. Although most of the time in groceries, even if it doesn't say organic, it's usually organic because they're not putting anything into these tubers, you know, of ginger. What you're doing is taking the root of the ginger, and what they do is they cube it or slice it, and they cook it in, you know, 10 pounds of sugar. And they cook it until it's like really in there. And then they take it out and roll it in either powdered sugar or crystallized sugar. And so it's very sweet. So, so I wouldn't recommend this for someone that is diabetic, but other people that don't have a sugar problem, it's a very natural sweet. You know, instead of eating chocolate, you can have a little piece of that. And in a lot of my recipes, especially in the energy section, I say to put in 5 cubes of crystallized ginger and blend it in the blender. And so it's kind of like adding a handful of raisins and putting it in the blender.
It sounds yummy. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Let's see. And real quick, because I am not a cook, again, is there a difference when you use metal bowls as opposed to glass or ceramic?
Okay. In general, making remedies, when you're mixing things, you want to prefer glass because it doesn't absorb anything. And as well, the metal sometimes will help sour some of the ingredients. And especially if you're heating things, you don't want to heat it in a metal bowl because that can do uneven heating of the elements that you're mixing together. So glass is the best way to go.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for being a shortcut. And now I want to do a fun fact for everybody that you have in your book, that almost no breastfed babies get autism.
Yes. Yes, there's actually, so many things in good immune system within breast milk. And if you think about it, I know my family, we've never had an unbroken chain yet of breastfeeding from generation to generation. So even 1,000 generations before, I'm getting immunity from all those generations. So breast milk is very healthy for newborns for that reason. And then there's a specific enzyme, GCMAF, which is in breast milk naturally. And I'm just going to briefly mention this because this is a whole big issue and it's still a lot of investigations. But like DMT is found naturally in the body, and that helps us when we're dreaming, that we dream in color. But when you take out in concentrated form outside of the body, DMT, the powers that be have made that super illegal. Like that's more illegal than cocaine and heroin. Okay, so the same thing with GCMAF. It's naturally found in breast milk, but when you isolate it and concentrate it outside of the body, at least in the United States for now, they have made it completely illegal, more illegal than cocaine and heroin. And not only was it so, the status of that, but we know over 100 natural practitioners that were working with Dr. Bradstreet and his GCMAF treatment for autistic children have been murdered. And so that's why I don't want to go into it so much, but there's still investigations in these murders. So, the powers that be are so scared of people having total access to their inner being and to use in concentrated forms certain enzymes that are naturally found in the body to heal things that afflict the nation. So these are things that, because they cannot outlaw breast milk, it behooves every woman having a baby to breastfeed that baby as long as she can. I breastfed all 3 of my children until 6 months. And even though I wanted to do it longer, they all had teeth at 6 months.
Wow. Now I did mine. They were 3.
Yeah. So mine, they all had teething at 6 months. It's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But getting back to your book,
Yep.
guys, see, it's got where you can do your own labels, how easy,
Yep.
and you can take notes. Now, if people want to get your book, how do they do it?
Okay. For now, Facebook is the easiest to message me. And there's at least 4 different group pages that I have. One is a book forum just to go over questions people have when they're making these remedies, or can I, use this instead of this, and what do I do if it's not mixing together properly or whatever. So there's all kinds of things that I can help answer. So whoever is getting the book and wants extra help, they can ask questions or share their ideas, whatever, on that book forum. And then I have the Doctor's Daughter. It's another Facebook group that I'm constantly posting international health updates, whatever it is, like whatever the hot topics are, I'm putting there. And I'm usually putting in very interesting, information. Like one of the most important things is the colloidal silver, because this is made from silver. It's electrolyzed silver in water, and that creates colloidal particles of silver in the water. And what even our own military have found, okay, and I tagged you on this PDF, is the 2009 DoD-funded study finds nanosilver inhibits Ebola virus. So, something unbelievable is that, and the study has the amounts that they have to take. But the point being is that the United States government cannot say this study's no good, cannot say it's politically motivated. Okay, that's the beauty of this study. And it was released to the public in 2009 under, the, what is it? Released to the public under, declassified, I guess is the word. So it was released to the public. So there's no excuse that the government and the FDA should ever come out against colloidal silver. So there's over 500 clinical studies that are very important studies for colloidal silver, that it reverses sepsis, it reverses MRSA, it can reverse malaria. So we're talking major stuff. So the coronavirus is nothing with colloidal silver if people are using it. And prevention's even better. You get a few sniffles from flu, cold, whatever, start taking the colloidal silver. Snap. It doesn't even come into a full-blown cold or a flu.
Wow.
So when people are coughing and sneezing, whatever, like they're sick in the grocery or something, I'll go home and take my 10 drops of colloidal silver. That way I know I'm not going to catch whatever they've been coughing in the air. And, if you have children, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children, you don't want them to come down with whatever someone's coughing and sneezing in the grocery.
Absolutely. We are out of time. God, this hour went by so fast. And thank you, Sara. And your book is called Earth Song Herbal Remedies. And contact Sara on Facebook, which is the best place. Really easy. Sara Markis, Markis. And we'll have to do this again.
Thank you so much, Cathy. And just, we'll go over maybe why I called it Earth Song, because there's a whole story about that.
All right. Well, good night, everybody. I hope you have a very pleasant weekend and a nice week. Next week, we're going to do some energy work. I think we need it.
Get over that retrograde.
Oh, God. Yes. All right. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.